Hello, Steve. Hello, Jill. It's time to game classy.
We are now recording. Recording is in progress.
Recording is in progress. Yeah, so you ever just randomly sleep 14 hours?
I can't tell you the last time I slept more than probably 7 hours.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, trust me, I'm very surprised.
The funny thing is with you sometimes, Steve, I just never know. It's like when you don't answer a text for that long at like an appointed time, I just go, yep, he's dead.
I mean, it's possible.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, this is it. Because we're so close to episode 300. I just know that I'm not saying that I'm going to die, but I'm saying probably maybe one of us may die before 300. Just cause. Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at. I was a little worried. I was like, who do I have to contact to find out if Steve died?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm as surprised as anyone. I haven't slept this long in a very, very long time. So I'm like, what the hell?
What were you doing? What were you like?
Nothing. Like literally nothing out of the ordinary. I did nothing out of the ordinary.
This is my first day of my break, my vacation. So I could see myself sleeping in that late, but of course I only slept till 4. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I just I didn't do anything out of the ordinary. I just fucking slept hard.
Slept hard.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Slept wet.
Slept wet. It's wet and weird.
Anyway, hey everybody, welcome to Game Classy. This is your Christmas episode. Just feels like I really need to do.
It's Christmas time.
For our UK listeners, we'll have to do like last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you took it away. I found out that recently that all of the terrible Christmas music we have, like the truly like terrible pop Christmas music, generally all originates from the UK. With the exception of Mariah Carey, we have no choice but to
accept the blame for that one.
Accept the blame for Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
Even though the song is kind of a banger, it's just overplayed.
I don't want a lot for Christmas.
Yeah.
I don't want to for snow.
Like for some odd reason, there was like a period in the 80s and 90s where the UK was just putting out this awful, awful Christmas music nonstop. You could also say that we could take the blame for the Bruce Springsteen Christmas song, Santa Claus is coming to town.
Oh, that one's actually really bad.
He's just covering a song though. It's just his version of it, like a cover. Like I'm talking original Christmas music.
I think we should make Spaghetti Again into a Christmas song.
Spaghetti Again? Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Spaghetti Again? It's from Tim and Eric's awesome show.
Oh, that's the reason I could never do Tim and Eric.
Yeah, I don't really. So here's the thing for me and Tim and Eric. I think Tim and Eric is like impossible to sit and watch.
Yes, that's the thing.
Impossible to sit and watch. I agree with that. But there's like YouTube clips of stuff that I'm like, hey, this is great. Like 3 minutes of Tim and Eric is really good.
Yeah, I will 100% agree with you on that. It's kind of like Tim and Eric, I feels like proto Tim Robinson. I think you should leave.
Yeah, absolutely. At 100%.
But it's like Tim Robinson is like exactly my style of humor. So I can't help but love it.
Yeah. No, Tim Robinson's hilarious. And I mean, I would say that I agree with that very much. Like it was like a roadmap to that.
Like Tim and Eric, I feel Tim and Eric are what comedy would be in an alternate universe if cable TV never happened.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take it up.
Like we don't have Comedy Central. We never got South Park. We never got Rick and Morty. Tim and Eric is what comedy would be in like public access only world.
Okay, I see that. It's free real estate.
Yeah, exactly. It's free real estate.
It's free real estate. Yeah.
All
and
right.
of course, Celery Man.
Yes. Well, that's different.
That's still from Tim and Eric. But that's what I'm saying.
Celery Man
is stuff that's good in it. It's impossible to sit and watch.
That sketch is That sketch is beyond science.
Yeah, Celery Man is one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen. I don't know. I can't even explain. I mean, it's like a lot of it is Paul Rudd. Like a lot of it is his delivery. Like he carries the sketch pretty hard.
Oh yeah. So would you ask for anything from Santa for Christmas? Any gaming stuff?
No, I as per usual, I got myself my Christmas game. And it turned out to be on sale, which is sweet. I grabbed the Warhammer Age of Sigmar Realms of Ruin game.
Yeah, because it's been 40% off for like the last 6 weeks because of how badly it performed.
Which is a shame because it's really good.
Is it? Is it a good game?
Yeah, it's really good. I don't know what I mean. I know. So this is
I will add. I know nothing about this game other than the fact that it just like severely underperformed.
Its reviews are mixed. And I'm going to tell you exactly why its reviews are mixed. So it's an RTS game. I like it a lot so far, but it is an RTS game that is doing a very, very accurate impression of the Age of Sigmar tabletop game. So
okay.
I think RTS fans are a little confused, and I bet you if I looked into the reviews, a bunch of them would be complaining about this. So one of the things about the game that I guarantee RTS fans are complaining about is when you get into melee combat, you're locked in combat until one side wins, just like the tabletop game. So that's super unusual for an RTS game. Like that is like kind of unheard of for an RTS game, because like a bunch of a bunch of like the higher level strategies in RTS games is to micro your units, so you go into combat, out of combat, into combat, out of combat, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So like you can't do that in this game. So in my opinion, that's probably one thing that people are going to complain about. But I think it's great. It very much feels like playing a video gamified version of the tabletop game. So if you don't like the tabletop game, I could see you not liking this game.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting way. I haven't heard anything about it, and if that's the truth, it sounds interesting enough. If it's a good simulation, because I think that's what people really liked about Warhammer. Why can't I think of the name of it? The Total War.
Total War. Yeah, it really, to me, it really feels similar to the tabletop game, because it's like a mission where you do a lot of summoning. If anyone has done any of those, because you start with a hero and a one unit, and then as you claim objectives, it's got the same kind of objective thing that Dawn of War does. So like you claim an objective and you build that's where you build stuff on. So you build like your healing thing there, or like a thing to generate more, because there's two resources. There's like an energy resource and a strategy resource. So you can build a thing that gives you more strategy resource, and you can build a thing that gives you more energy resource. And then you're using your abilities costs. Basically everything costs currency. So like if you want to use your like fire breath on your Dracon Dragon Rider, your Sigmarine Dragon Rider, the fire breath costs something to use instead of just being a basic cooldown. So there's actually like a lot of mechanical reasons to like stay moving and grabbing all the objectives. I'm a big fan. I can see why people are like confused by it, because like I said, it is not a normal RTS game, but I'm a fan.
Well, I wouldn't say that's a glowing review, but I'll say it's a this game, pick up the game while it's 40% off review.
Yeah, I think you should try it. I think anyone, if you're interested in Age of Sigmar, you should try it. I'm a fan. I like it a lot. So
yeah, it's really funny to me because video games are just such a crazy business for me, right? Because I don't really play that many video games. I don't understand them that much, but it's like you have a game like Total War, which was hypothetically a very, very successful game, and Dawn of War, which was also a very, very successful game.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have people going around going, that game was great. I love playing that game. And, it's like I could still play it and everything else. But then you have the companies that make the game. They're like, yeah, we're not going to put out that game anymore. And it's like, why wouldn't you put out the game? It's popular. Put out the game. Put out the game. Like put out another Dawn of War. Why not?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, to me, that makes no sense. But yeah. I'm not on the cutting edge of video games. What can I say?
It's because I think a lot of that is because a lot of these studios are big corpo studios.
Yeah.
So you have to innovate for the sake of innovation so much I mean, just look at the like anyone who's currently dealing with the Discord mobile app upgrade, quote unquote upgrade, can attest. Like, you have to change stuff for the sake of your own existence when it comes to tech things. So like, it's like, yeah, so we're gonna make Dawn of War 3, and we're basically making it a MOBA. Yeah, your beloved RTS series that had base building and all that stuff. Yeah, we're not doing that. Why are we still calling it Dawn of War?
Yeah, I have no concept of whatever's going on with video games nowadays. I'm too old to play video games.
I'm an old man. But yeah, I like Realms of Ruin. I think it's cool. I think you should. I think anyone who's interested in Age of Sigmar should at least try it. I'm a fan. I know I'll be playing it.
All right, so let's. I don't know what I'm getting for Christmas for my own stuff. I'm a father, so I generally will get like a couple of trinkets, and that's about it. They'll be like, "Oh, Dad likes, Dungeons and Dragons. I'm gonna find this little this dragon and give it to him." I'm like, "Oh, that's wonderful. That's nice." That's all I usually get for Christmas.
Get yourself a little dragon man.
A dragon man. Oh, that's nice. No, what I got myself for Christmas is a couple bottles of resin because I am currently printing out a massive epic army. And
Nice.
not because I don't even want to play Epic, Steve. I'm just doing it to fuck Games Workshop because of how expensive those models are.
I figured you were doing it because you wanted to paint an epic army.
Oh, I don't want to paint anything anymore. I'm done. I'm done with painting.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, I am literally just waiting to find out how to base and paint my Warhammer Old World army. That's all I'm waiting for right now.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, so we want to talk a little bit about some of the newer stuff that they dropped?
No, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. I mean, it's the most exciting thing in the hobby right now.
Yes, it's the most exciting thing in the hobby. Well, Games Workshop related, really. It's game because right now everything's kind of really stagnant. They blundered Epic release so poorly, and everyone's just kind of like, okay, this is what we have right now. I know it is fairly popular, Epic.
Yeah, it's selling out. It's
Yeah.
a success. It's a successful. It's like a what is it? It's like a critical failure success.
I think
like
the main,
fucked
I
it
think
up.
the main-
The release
yeah.
is good. So
I think the main box is going to sell fairly well, but I don't think that it's going to have any sort of legs to it. Like everyone's saying, like, well, if it's successful, they'll do the other races, and no, they won't.
so here's the thing for me. I would not make that speculation anymore, simply because Underworlds still exists. So
That's you are right. You are absolutely correct.
you never know what they have in the hopper for for games they're going to keep going or not, because definitely can't be 100% just sales, because if that was the case, Underworlds have been gone a long time ago.
Oh yeah. So the Old World, they finally released the idea of how army composition is going to look. Now this is something that blindsided me 100%. I don't know about you.
I was not anticipating this at all. So yeah, I would agree 100%.
So for those of you who are over the age of 40, like myself, and remember this, they have gone back to fifth and fourth edition army building, which is where you have percentages. So for the current game, 50% of your army has and can be made up of characters. So at a 2,000 point game, which we'll consider to be standard, right, Steve? You would say like probably going to be 2,000 points again.
Yeah, it's very likely it's going to be 2,000 points.
Yeah. So you could have up to 1,000 points of characters. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I know, because that was always, well, I'll get into that a little bit. But the nice thing is that in the old 5th and 4th edition, at least 25% of your army had to be core, right? So, or, they would tell you what you had to spend, 25% of your army on. So, like, we say core because that's what they use in 6th and 7th and 8th edition. And, like, it would be battle line now, right? That's, like, the thing you have to have, like, 2 battle line units, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
For Age of Sigmar.
Correct. Yeah, you have to have 2 battle line.
So they tell you, like, for example, with the Bretonnians, you have to have at least 1 unit of knights and 1 unit of men at arms. Those are going to be your core choices. And you also got a couple other core units you could throw in there, which is cool because now you don't have the min-maxing of like, well, shit, I have to have 2 units of core. I'm going to take 2 of the smallest units of halberdiers I can, so I can put all my other points into special and rare units, right?
Yeah, the best thing about it too is they kind of really went for a best of all worlds too, because they also put in specific limiters for specific units. Like if you like the easiest one is if we just go straight to rare, you get a max of 1 field trebuchet per 1,000 points. In addition to up to 25% of your army's points can be spent on rare. Because what it says is up to 25% of your armies may be spent on Grail Knights, and then beneath that, 0 to 1 field trebuchet per 1,000 points. So that's totally the best win-win, because that means that they think the field trebuchet is busted. So you're gonna want to take it, and in theory, you'd probably want to take as many as possible. So now you can't, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I highly doubt artillery and stuff like that in old world or in regular Warhammer Fantasy Battles was never game breaking. I mean, the Empire cannons were pretty broke because you would take a ton
of them. That was what it was like taking. But that's exactly the point on this one too. I think because artillery was never broken unless you took a lot of it.
Yeah,
like the Night Goblin unit with the 16 bolt throwers, that's pretty fucking busted. Like, yeah, it's 16 bolt throwers. Like, yeah, that's gonna fuck you up. Like, it's bad. But like 1 or 2 bolt throwers, even like 4 bolt throwers is like not really like it's not busted. It's like it'll be good, but not broken. But like, yeah, the more you take, the better they get. So that's a huge thing. And then of course we don't know how they're gonna fire artillery in this edition.
Yeah, we really don't know how artillery is going to work, but I'm assuming it's going to be relatively close to 6th edition. To continue with it, special is 50% of your army points, or 50% of your points can be spent on special, and 25% can be on rare. They also added mercenaries and allies, which I thought was interesting.
Yep, Dogs of War are back, baby.
Yeah, mercenaries of the Dogs of War and allies is that you could have like 25% of your army could be made up of regular, your troops just going to be, like from the armies of good, which are going to be how the armies are divided in old world. I think that's fantastic concept.
Yeah, it's really cool. And they have and they say specifically what you can take. So like you can take dwarf and mountain holds, wood elf realms, Empire of Man, or high elf realms as allies, which is really cool.
Which is funny because I was looking at Bretonnian and I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to have a little wood elf contingent? Oh, they're suspicious. Then I was like, well, what about dwarves? Oh, they're suspicious. God
I mean, that's good. That's fine. I mean, I don't know what suspicious is going to do in this edition, but I assume it'll just mean
they call it a draft. I can't hold out because I love you too much, baby. We can't go on together with suspicious allies.
If I remember correctly, all that's going to do is that you can't use their leadership. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Yeah. So like you can't use basically like. Suspicious means you can't mix like the abilities, so you can't use like the allied generals rules, you can't use allied battle standard stuff. It would still work fine. Like if you took like a unit of like maybe like a small wood elf hero and like a unit of archers, that would still work fine because you just put the wood elf hero in the unit of archers and you're good.
Yeah, you're right. That would be perfectly fine.
Yeah, and
some war dancers.
Yeah, very thematically cool too. Like that, I think it's awesome. Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm so fucking hyped about Old World.
Well, here's one thing I wanted to add to it, though. Something I thought was interesting, because I like to pull information off of what we get. I'm gonna, and extrapolate data in the special units. They specifically talk about squires, questing knights, mounted yeomen, and Grail Knights are the special, as well as the field trebuchet. Those were all models that were never got plastic releases, right?
Mm.
So that means that they probably are going to be re-releasing those models probably in resin, right?
Maybe plastic. I mean, I don't know because they are doing some new stuff in plastic. So
yeah, knows? I see. But we talked about this, you and I together offline. Is my feeling is that this is just taking the same exact business strategy that they were using for Middle Earth strategy battle games, where it was like, we're going to use these 30-year-old what's it called, models, and just use those. Like, we're not going to do any sort of update to them. We're just going to get as much life out of these casts.
I think they're definitely using as many old models that they still have that they can still easily produce 100%, but they are adding like some brand new stuff in plastic, like that new Tomb King's dragon that looks dope as fuck. That's a brand new plastic kit.
Well, yeah, they're definitely doing newer newer character models and probably newer, like some new plastic kits.
So I could totally see a new or maybe new sprue. That's the other thing too. There could be new sprues.
Yeah, I'm thinking that it's mostly just going to be the same old ones, just recast in the resin. But what I'm hoping for though is, because didn't they do, when they did Middle Earth, didn't some of those like character blisters come in metal?
They did do that, yes, actually. They every so often and they still do that. They every so often they do a limited buy for metal character models and stuff from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I'm hoping for that more than anything. Not that I need anything for Bretonia. I have literally everything I need. So, but I mean, I know like Grail Knights and Questing Knights were always super expensive, even after the death of 8th edition. Those were always hard models to find.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think that's really interesting. So the army composition is straight up 5th edition, but from everything we've seen, the rules are mostly 6th edition with some of the, like, they learned their mistakes and brought in. They dropped the rule book to a bunch of influencers, and how I never got to be an influencer, I'll never know. Maybe it's because I shit on all of their games. You got to be like that's the thing is like, when you're looking at these YouTube videos of these guys giving their reactions to this stuff, they're always going to give it a positive because they don't want to bite the hand that feeds them, you know?
True.
They don't. True. Yeah. Like, oh, this game is so fucking great. Well, yeah, because you get everything for free. So that's why you're going to say it. Because if you say something's going to be shitty, they're not going to give you your free stuff anymore. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm going to be the exact same way if someone gives me free shit. But they don't give it to me because I tend to shit on things quite a bit.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So I guess there was one of the influencers with quotation marks around it got a copy of the books and he put up a stream on it and he was talking about it and the stream got taken down. But some of the big things is that the army composition that they put up on the website for Bretonians is universal across all the armies.
Yep. That was my first thing too. I was like, why does it specifically say Bretonians?
Yeah. Well, they were talking about how to build a Bretonian army. They'll probably do one for Tomb Kings too.
Mm-hmm.
So they have wizards can't dispel while they're in close combat, which I think is interesting. There's a limit on how many ranks you can claim in combat based on the unit type. Now, I think that's interesting. So that way you're not going to be able to claim like a massive, like if you build a massive rare unit, you're probably not going to get as many rank bonuses as a core unit.
Yeah, you won't be able to go all in on a Death Star and be like, I have 20 ranks on my Death Star.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You don't have the Death Star units anymore. There's a horde rule. It's not an extra attack. Wait, it's not an extra rank gets it to attack when you have a wide frontage. I don't know what that means. I'm assuming you know what that means more than I do.
It's probably a specific number. They probably have like a wide frontage. So like if you have a 10-man, it's likely 10-man frontage, 2 ranks attacks. That's likely what that boils down to.
And the only other thing that I think is really weird with this edition so far is how come we don't have the goddamn armor saves put onto the damn profile? I have to do math again to do my armor saves.
Yeah,
that's stupid.
That's kind of lame. I don't like that.
Like,
especially because you said they removed like the mounted bonus for armor too. So it's just like, just put it on the fucking sheet.
Yeah. However, the armor does stack for mounted characters. So if you have a barded warhorse, that counts towards your armor save. But yeah, it's like I have a Lord of Bretonia here. I should have the goddamn armor save put next to their name so that I know. And like, if you want to add something, I think it's because you don't have you have to buy a shield, you have to buy armor, like, which I think is kind of ridiculous in this where it's 2023. We don't need to do all of this stuff. Give me my Bretonian Lord. Tell me what he has. I'm good with it.
No, he comes with heavy armor, but you have to decide if you want to take a shield or
just give him a fucking shield.
I agree. Although I am interested. I don't remember Men-at-Arms very well, but were Men-at-Arms always like all gear? Did they always have all gear? Because I thought it was interesting that they have hand weapons and pole arms and shields by default without like any point adjustments.
No, that's what they were in the original and in 6th edition. They had pole arms, light armor, and shield. There was no
they just always had everything. Got it.
Yeah, they always had everything. They never. But I mean, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Just buy the damn unit. Like that's one thing that I think I'm spoiled on with Age of Sigmar is that if I buy a unit, this is what they have. I don't have to customize this.
Everything's on the card. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
However, but I guess if they got to be going for the old game mouthfeel.
The old game. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. This is old game mouthfeel. And you know what? The old game mouthfeel wasn't always a good mouthfeel. Not always.
Wrong. Sometimes it was mealy.
Yeah, sometimes it was very, very mealy. And they also one of the other things with the old world is they announced that they're doing old world books again for Black Library. So they're having the first Bretonnia book come out, which is called Lords of the Lance.
Lords of the Lance, the Bretons.
Wait, let me do the audiobook. Warhammer, the Old World. Lords of the Lance.
Lords
by Bram McNeil. As read by Joe and Steve.
It's read by Duncan McNeely.
As read by Colin Meaney. What? Cool.
Yeah, Colin Meaney.
I saw an interview with Colin Meaney where they were talking about him on Deep Space Nine, and is like, talking about technobabble, and Colin Meaney's just going feck, just like laughing at this Irish guy just slamming his hands against a computer.
That's great.
Made me laugh.
I mean, that is funny. Colin Meaney's a very funny guy.
There was a Bretonnia book that I remember reading. I think it was just called Knights of Bretonnia or like something like that. It was a long time ago, but I really liked that book. I'm excited to read another one. This one looks like they're in Araby, so they're probably gonna be fighting the Tomb Kings, of course.
They got to versus the Tomb Kings.
Yeah,
that'd be sweet.
So I mean, it's cool. I'm glad they're doing all this stuff and they're going back to it. Since Middle Earth strategy battles is slowly fading into obscurity, and will disappear eventually.
It's being eaten by Entrust. Yes. Or not Entrust. What is it? Embracer.
Yes, Embracer. However, you know who we have to thank? We can get more Lord of the Rings stuff.
Who?
Demetrius Polycron.
Demetrius Polycron.
Didn't you? What about what is it? What was the sequel called? It was like Return of the Rings or something like that. I think it was called
Return of the King of the Rings or something.
Yeah, it was something stupid like that, or Fellowship of the King. That's what it was. Fellowship of the King.
Yes, Fellowship of the King.
Oh, it was so funny. It's so bad. Just to read the description, I was like, this is horrible. Everything about this is bad.
The best was the first review. That's just a once review that says, "Hey, you're gonna get sued, bro."
For those who don't know, there was a guy who did Lord of the Rings fan fiction. His name is Demetrius Polycron. I'm sure he's in a local gaming group somewhere in the UK. You could go talk to Demetrius. He wrote a sequel to the Lord of the Rings, which sounds like if J.J. Abrams was going to write a sequel to Lord of the Rings. It's like just like the Return of the Rise of Skywalker or whatever it was. It sounds like that. They're like, somehow, some way, Steve.
Sauron has returned.
Yeah. No, Morgoth.
Oh, Morgoth
has returned.
Somehow, Morgoth has returned.
Yes. Because, the Blue Wizards are coming back, and now one of the Blue Wizards is starting up a new fellowship to take out the missing rings that have returned. I was seriously like reading it, going like, this is hysterical. And not only that, but he's tried to sue Amazon.
Yeah,
stealing his ideas. Oh, God Almighty! What is wrong with this world?
I don't know. Pick something. You can pick whatever.
Don't get me wrong. I think that the fact that Tolkien has been dead for 40 years at this point, and his book, and it's like his family is still feeding upon the corpses of those books. I find that to be wrong on a certain level. Like I like the fact that they're treating it with the utmost they want it to be treated with the utmost respect. It's their father's legacy, but it's kind of like at the same time, like, guys, you didn't do anything with this. You didn't write it.
He's been dead for 50 years on the dot.
50 years on the dot, really?
Yeah.
Did he die on this day 50 years ago?
Okay, well, not exactly on the dot, but it is exactly 50 years. So 50. It's September 2nd. So close.
Yeah.
Only 3 months ago.
Only 3 months ago. He died 50 years ago, and his books are still, like people are making a massive amount of money off of these books, and they, in my opinion, should be in public domain. It's been 50
agree.
fucking years.
I mean, I completely agree on public domain law. Like I think, I mean, obviously, and we have Disney to blame for that one, obviously.
Yeah. Well, we have a little, yeah.
I mean,
we also
like public domain is good. Like people don't like. I've seen people like argue against public domain, which I think is just so weird. It's like, bro, like you like one of my favorite ones is like the creator wouldn't want, like, he's dead.
He doesn't care.
Yeah, he doesn't give a fuck what happens to it. He's dead.
I will tell you this. George R.R. Martin is sitting on a giant pile of money and gives zero fucks about what anyone will do with any of his stories once he's dead.
Right, yeah. You think Conan Doyle fucking cares that there's like a Benedict Cumberbatch and Robert Downey Jr. version of his character that are different? No, he's dead. He doesn't give a fuck.
He doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, he's dead.
But yeah, that's exactly it. It's like what the hell, man? Just give it up. And what I hate most is that now even Tolkien's son is dead. So it's like, like we're getting to like grandkid territory, and now you're sucking off the tea to your grandpa's good works. Like, go out, do something for yourself, earn some fucking money. You could take the money that he made and that you inherited from him and go off and be a doctor or do something with the world.
Yeah,
but
or you could have the largest collection of Middle-earth strategy battle game figures of all time.
I'm thinking with the royalties from Lord of the Rings, you might be able to afford about like 75% of the stuff that's out there for the game. That's an expensive game.
It's cheap expensive.
Yes, and I'm hoping that Demetrius Polycron gets to put out his 7-book cycle for the Lord of the Fellowship of the King.
Demetrius Polycron.
I think
that is one of the best names of all time.
It really is. I can't tell if it's fake or if it's like he's legit named Demetrius Polycron.
Maybe he changed his name to that.
He could have, but he could also be one of your Greek compatriots.
We need to know if he is if that's his legal name. I think we deserve to know.
And you know what though? No, I don't think we deserve to know, because I don't want to know. I want to maintain the aura of mystery.
Okay, that's valid. That's valid.
Yeah. So one other thing, and another thing I want to talk about, getting away from Games Workshop for a little bit, is, did you see that Monolith is putting out another edition of the Conan game?
I did not see that.
Yes, they're the big Conan, the board game. They're doing, I think, like a massive whatever of it coming out.
Oh, that's right.
soon.
And they're going to be doing the RPG.
Yeah, but it's like they're releasing a massive version of the game, like all of the shit that's ever been released for it. Here it is, limited time on the Kickstarter. You're getting the deluxe Kickstarter edition of the Conan base game is back in an offer never seen before. For this adventure game for 99 euros, you get the best version of the base game and like all of the shit that comes with it. So it's cheap in comparison to what the game normally costs, and you get all of the figures and all the stuff with it. So
very interesting.
You get 227 miniatures, Steve.
Holy fuck. It's too many.
Yeah.
It's too many.
I'm with you on that. If you're gonna make Conan the board game your whole life, this game is for you. But you know what? I'm not gonna do it. Although I do like the sea monster that they have in that game. That sea monster is sweet.
It is very cool. Yes.
Yeah. But I'm just I could not do that anymore. The game like that. Not even I like collecting it, painting it, playing. I couldn't even play that game. I would look at it and just be miserable.
Those are the ones where it's like that it has to be your game.
Yeah, exactly. Like Dark Souls.
Yeah, it has to be your game. Like if that's your game, great. It can't be like a game in your pile.
Yeah. Oh man. So let me ask you, Steve. Do you have any other specific gaming news to talk about?
I don't. I mean, I was all in on the Age of Sigmar video game and the Old World stuff. That's all I got.
Yeah, the Old World stuff I think is interesting in and of itself. I'm wondering when we're going to get a release date on it. It's because the amount of stuff that's been coming out for it lately, like my feeling is that it's going to be dropped in June, right? Or like the May, the spring release, the big Q1 spring release. However, I don't know. It's like they're dropping so much stuff, and we're a couple months out, so maybe. I'm thinking that I thought it was going to get like dropped at or announced at Adepticon, because that's normally when they do that sort of stuff right at that time. But you never know; it could go anywhere. Oh, by the way, did you see the Lamian vampire for Age of
Yeah,
Sigmar?
very very cool. Big fan.
Like totally up your alley right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, oh, that's so fucking cool. But
Yeah,
luckily for me, they don't have an army that's in that aesthetic. So,
and that's part of the reason why they're not doing vampire counts for Old World, even though it makes more sense for vampire counts to be there than the Tomb Kings. But they want to do the vampire counts. They want to save that for AOS.
for now, I mean, I guarantee the second half of Warhammer of Old World. That's what I think it is. I think the strategy is two halves. Is if Old World is successful, then you'll see the other half come. So like any army that's not specifically given like a full like Old World launch will come if Old World is successful. I think that's the strategy, because they're doing PDFs for a bunch of the armies without launches. So like the Vampire accounts will likely have a PDF rule set, but not an Old World quote unquote release.
No, you're absolutely right. What they're gonna do is here's my prediction for everybody. You're gonna get 2 army books on release. You're gonna have the armies of the good and armies of the bad. So it's gonna work just like they did with Horus Heresy. They're 2 thick paperbacks that you're gonna have to pay $80 a piece for, alongside the rule book, which is gonna be separate because there's not gonna be any starter sets. So you're gonna have the rule book for Old World, and you're gonna have you're gonna have the good armies and the evil armies, and that's what you're gonna have. There will probably end up being a PDF set for Skaven, Vampire Counts. Who am I missing? Ogre Kingdoms, Chaos Dwarves. Fingers crossed.
Yes.
They'll never do. They won't put Chaos Dwarves on there.
Yeah, never say never, man. They know how much people love Chaos Dwarves.
Yes. Well, that actually gets to the other thing that about Old World, which I don't think anybody's really been talking about, is when they were previewing the Old World like 2-3 years back. They were showing stuff for Kislev. They were showing stuff for Nippon, or not Nippon, Cathay. Where is that stuff?
They're gonna come. I guarantee it.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if there's gonna be like an expansion afterwards, because I sent you the pictures and I put them up on the Discord. By the way, join our Discord. You can find the link over at the Game Classy Facebook page. The Discord, you got the pictures of the Tomb King army box that they're gonna be releasing, which, depending on the price, probably is a decent deal. Especially with the price of Tomb King.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, because I believe on the Tomb King box, like it was like a massive amount of figures in there, at least in terms of like what we're currently used to. What was I gonna say? Like I had it pulled up. Now I can't find it. Let me see. Sorry, guys. Dead air. Dead air. Dead air. I can't find it there. Now I gotta find it on your fucking our thread that I've been talking to you.
Good stuff.
Oh, Rectagino mug. Here it is.
I want one of the Rectagino mugs. Not gonna lie.
Here we go. So in it, you got 2 units of 8 horsemen, right?
Yes.
Wait. Yeah. So, god damn it.
It's 2 units of 8. It's 2 units of 8 horsemen. The dragon.
So 16 horsemen, the dragon, a Tomb King, 3 chariots, 32 archers, and 40 skeletons.
Yes.
And now I think you and I both agree that 32 archers is way too many for any Old World army.
Unless you're specifically doing Khalida, generally, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they might change up the rules for Tomb Kings. Like give them all like the Khalida poison arrows.
Yeah, also true. Yeah, I mean, like whenever I used art, like I think I used 1 unit of 10 or 2 units of 10, and that was the max I ever used for archers.
In terms of like artillery or any sort of like range weaponry for Old World, you would never have more than 20 on the board, just because the point, like you're
pretty rare.
Yeah, your points are it's not worth the amount of points that you're paying for them, just out of the amount of models that you'll kill.
Yeah,
it never added up.
Yeah, the only one was specifically Khalida, because you could take a huge unit and make it shoot twice. That was That was why. So
Yeah, with poison arrows.
with
So
poison arrows.
Yeah, so the auto kill on 6.
Yeah, you'd get a lot of damage. That was the only big unit I ever saw anyone take.
But even at that, you'd never do 32. So that's like 12 mods.
Right, it's still a useless number.
Yeah. Well, and 16 skeleton cavalry is also useless too, because you'd never take 16 cavalry for the Tomb Kings.
Yeah, that's the thing that's funny about that is like that's from the old, like that's how old that release is, because
the horses came on sprues of 4.
And yeah, because the frontage was 4.
Yeah, the frontage was 4. Like the frontage was originally supposed to be 4, so you'd have 8. Well, okay, no. So technically, this is the reason why those old boxes were released in boxes of 8, was because you were supposed to buy a box of 8 plastic, then buy the leader and banner man separately.
Yes, also
so you'd buy them in blister, because they were metal back in the day. So you'd buy your unit of 8 Reichsguard, then go buy your Kurt Hellborg and your standard bearer, put them in the unit, and you'd have your unit of 10.
Yes.
Like that's why they came in units of 8. Not always the case, but that was like the original thinking behind it. And and you could also just use a unit of 8 but now it's like that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And the Tomb Kings, they were light cavalry. You never want to take them into combat.
No, they were pretty bad.
So to have 16, that's a bit much. Like one of those units should have been swapped for another 3 chariots, probably.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah, but you don't know. Those chariots could be fucking terrible in this edition. We talked about that too.
Yep. Yeah, we're all rolling dice. If you're getting anything now before, like if you don't already have the stuff, you should not be getting anything until you see how you're going to build the army.
Yeah, because in the old edition, as you said, strength 7 auto killed chariots, right?
Yeah, and it was fucking everywhere. Like it's like, oh, Crocs, like yeah, my Croxagore is strength 7. It's like, cool.
No Lizardman this edition, though, Steve. So we're good there.
That's true.
No Lizardmen, no Rat Ogres, no regular Ogres. So really, you'll just be dealing with like champions with magic weapons and some artillery.
Grail Knights lanced up, probably strength 7. I think Grail Knights are strength 5.
Ooh, that could very well be. But yeah, and with chariots being a unit, they would carry over from one chariot to another chariot, and so it would just
destroyed.
They would just get blued.
Yeah,
blued up. So I mean, hopefully that'll get fixed up. But as you can see, yeah, Tomb Kings not off to a strong start. And what I also find interesting about that box release is it has none of the plastics that were released for 7th or 8th edition in it.
True.
So no Tomb Guard, no those Snake Riders.
Yeah.
No what is it, Necro Sphinx? Remember that thing?
Yeah. No Necro Sphinx. It is a surprise, so we'll see.
Yeah. So I find that very, very interesting. I'll be interested to see what that's going to go as. But I mean, look at that. It's like, but even still, if that box is like, let's say $200, that is a fucking deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably going to be more than that. It's probably going to go for like $400. Which,
I mean, we'll see.
At $400, that's what I say to that. Like,
yeah, I mean, I'm not getting it anyway because I don't want to build those skeletons ever again in my life.
Well, yeah, and especially when there's so many third-party skeletons that are out there, like the Egyptian skeletons that are out there, just go with those.
Yeah, I'm good.
But you can't play in the Games Workshop stores. Why are you playing in a Games Workshop store?
Yeah,
the people who are there are miserable.
Yeah, even then, like you could definitely get some that are going to be close enough that no one will know.
Yeah, I mean maybe. But yeah, actually, with the Skelly Bones, yeah, you probably could. There's enough rip-offs of those Skelly Bones that you could do that.
Yeah, I mean, hell, the ones I sent you alone look so they just basically actually, you know what? They might the fact that they look better might give them away.
Yeah, there you go. That's the reason right there. The Bretonians, there's a lot of good Bretonian 1-for-1s, and actually, there is one 3D printer Patreon, and I'll throw that out there for you guys. It's called Monstrous Encounters. Mm-hmm. They do a lot of Middle Hammer style sculpts that are nearly identical. I did an entire Vampire Count skeleton army based on their prints, and they look almost identical to the GW stuff, with a few exceptions, of course. They have a lot of stylistically different stuff, but some of it looks infinitely better than the Games Workshop stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I would take a look at them, Monstrous Encounters. They do have Bretonians that look like a good combination of the 5th to 6th Bretonians, so like the 5th edition plastic Bretonians that you got in the big box set with the Lizardmen, or the 6th edition ones that have like the fancier barding.
Right.
take a look for those guys if you're looking for something that you want to play for that. They also have like really nice looking Beastmen proxies and Orc proxies. So keep that in mind. And if you want to play Chaos Dwarves, Fablezel is a Patreon that does really good 5th edition style Chaos Dwarves. So look for him. He's really cheap to get into too, as well. He's only like $3 for the Patreon.
Nice.
So there you go. So if you got a 3D printer, that's going to go. But 3D printer is going to kill you, Steve.
Is it?
I don't know. I just one of the guys on the Patreon posted a video, and I just like as soon as I see clickbait headlines on videos for YouTube, I immediately dismiss everything they say as false. I don't care how true anything they're saying is. I will immediately discount it based upon a clickbait headline.
Very good.
And I think that should be just a common rule. Like, what's that Bettenridge's law of headlines? You know what that one is?
No.
If any headline ends in a question mark, the answer is no.
I see.
So they'll say like, "Is 3D printing killing you?"
No.
No. The answer is no.
Very, very good.
Yeah. So like the rules with like in local news, because for some odd reason people in Chicago are still watching local news because that's how they get their daily dose of fear in them.
It's because they want to hear 773
3202 boop, 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 boop. Luna. Don't get me wrong, I love classic Chicagoland commercials, but yeah, they watch the local news, and the local news will be always like, "Is Chicago in for snow this weekend?" No. That's the way to answer it, because guess what? If there was snow coming, they would go, "Big snowstorm coming in this weekend. Find out more." That's the basis behind it. So if like they won't get anybody to turn in and they go, "Chicago's in for a great weekend," no one's gonna tune into that. They're gonna tune in if they say, "Is Chicago gonna explode this weekend?" Tune in to find out.
Yes,
that sort of thing. So that's what they do on YouTube now, is because they're trying to get the clickbait, so people will click on their little thing so they can get the micro money from YouTube. They're overlords.
Doctor, without precisely knowing what is going on, do you think now is the time for us to crack open each other's skulls and feast on the goo inside?
Yes. I, for one, welcome our new ant overlords.
Yes. What the big signs is welcome ants.
Welcome ants. But yeah, that's currently what it is. I mean, I love 3D printing. I'm probably not the safest person with the 3D printing. I generally will have what's it called? I'll have my gloves, and I have everything set up, and I'm very careful when I'm touching and cleaning and stuff like that. But I just really it's fine. I'm not inhaling it. I'm not drinking it. I should be okay.
I mean, why aren't you chugging it?
Chug it, chug it, chug it. Yeah, that's the thing that I'm dealing with right now with that. But aside from that, though, we do have an excellent Discord server that everybody should go, that every one of our listeners should join, so that way they can see our terrible memes.
Yeah.
And you could get the best of Joe and Steve utter dismissal of your facts or whatever you're interested in. Because you'd be like, "Isn't this cool?" And of course, me and you would be just like, "No,
it's not cool.
It's not cool. Away with you."
Good stuff.
I still think the best is Andor, when people talk about how great Andor is, and just like every time you and I will just go,
Blandor.
Just the utter dismissal in that comment. It's so beautiful to me.
Good stuff.
So aside from that, I don't really think we have too much more to talk about.
No, bro, it's over.
No, it's gonna be a happy Christmas, as they say in the UK.
Yes, a happy Christmas, Harry.
So I know you don't. I know you normally you've given up alcohol because of your diet and everything like that. But are you going to partake of any eggnog?
I am going to drink the nog. I have some almond nog, which I'll be devouring.
Almond nog?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I won a trivia contest because I knew that eggnog was invented in England.
Nice.
I said no other country in the world could come up with a drink as ugly of a name as eggnog more than England.
Yeah,
except Chicago, because we came up with Malort.
The Lort.
Malort.
It's the Lort.
Yes, and as I will tell everybody on this podcast once again, Malort is not a Chicago drink. It was originally in the 1970s, and no one drank it, and then it went away, and it was produced in Milwaukee, outside of Chicago, for many years, and then someone got the rights to it in Chicago and was like, "We're gonna make a whole viral campaign about it," and now everybody thinks it's a Chicago thing. So no, it is not. Fuck you all.
You still make people drink it though.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing. You just make them drink the vomit stuff.
You
I've actually had
make them drink the Malort.
I've had good Malort though. I've had like a mixed drink with Malort, and it was actually it was decent.
I could see that. Yeah,
it was like Malort, and I think it was not cantaloupe. That's not the word. What's a big citrus fruit? Why can't grapefruit? It was a grapefruit Malort kind of like drink mixed, and it was very good. It was like the very sour taste of the grapefruit really covered up a lot of the Malort. So if you do, there you go. If you ever come to Chicago, you could go to any Binny's and buy a little 6-pack of Malort that you could bring back to whatever country of origin you come from and go, this is what these awful savages in Chicago drink.
Yes.
But if you're going to do that, at least get some hot dogs and like, some of the fixings to make a Chicago style hot dog for them.
Or jeans and shirts.
But you can't take that overseas.
Oh, that's true. You can't.
Yeah. It's like you pull out of your handbag this full like bag of Gene and Jude's. It's like, you gotta eat this. It's 16 hours old, but still.
I love it.
Yeah. You get yourself a little pack of some all beef Franks, some hot dog buns with the sesame seeds on it, some neon green relish, a little yellow mustard. It's perfect. I've seen on Reddit. I subscribe to the hot dog subreddit.
Oh yeah,
because of course I do. And they always like every once in a while someone will be like from a different country will be like, my take on a Chicago style hot dog, and I'll be like, no, you can't say that. You're not allowed to say that. That's our thing. You're not allowed.
That's good.
Ah well. But anyway, so you can, if you do want to get to the best way. Let me say that. How do I normally start this off? Man, my brain is not working today. You know why? Because it's 1:30 in the afternoon. It's like we've done this at 8 o'clock. Well, we were normally my brain would be on fire.
Fair, it's time for bed.
Yes, you can go to the Game Classy Facebook page. It's the best way to get in contact to get to the link to our Discord, which is the best way to get in contact with us. It's usually right underneath whatever the newest post is. You can click on that, takes you right to the Discord, subscribe that way. If you're not on Discord, do it. It's a great way. It's like the new best forum. There's no ads on there. You don't have to worry about all the other crap and shit and recommendations and everything else. It's just pure commenting and everything else. And you can find some decent pornography on Discord. Right, Steve?
This is accurate.
You could also listen to the podcast on iTunes. Or you could watch it on YouTube. You could like, comment, subscribe on the iTunes, subscribe on the YouTube. It's the best way you could help out the podcast. If you'd like to see more of my stuff, you could go to my Instagram, Game Classy Joe. You could watch Steve on Blue Sky or follow Steve on Blue Sky. If you got an invite to go on the Blue Sky.
I think it's open to the public now, actually.
Last time I looked, it wasn't, which was earlier this week. So maybe not. I'm not 100% sure because I was looking on there for some interesting pornography and it was not allowed on. So that kind of sucks. Outrageous. Where am I going to find my pornography in this day and age? Just every time I just got to look for new sources of pornography. And so Steve, until next year,
I was at the pornography store. I was buying pornography.
I think you did that last week too.
Did I? Nice.
Maybe last time.
I'll take it.
But speaking of, before we go, actually, we got episode 300 coming up.
It's true.
Yeah, I think it's like in 2 episodes.
Man,
we'll have to come up with something fancy to do.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do the entire podcast pantless.
Yeah, that'll be a change.
Yes, a very large change.
Very large change. All right.
Later.
Later.
Game Classy.